Hello my students, today we are going to talk about the lymphatic system. These are the intended learning outcomes of this lecture. We are going to learn about the components of the lymphatic system and also the location and the functions of main lymphatic vessels in the body. And we are also going to study about the microscopic structure and functions of a lymph node. Also, the location, macroscopic and microscopic structure, as well as the functions of spleen, thymus gland, and the mucosa-related lymphatic tissue. First, we will see what is lymph. As we know, all body cells are bathed in tissue fluid. That means they are surrounded by the fluid called tissue fluid, or we also call it interstitial fluid. So this interstitial fluid is located within the space between cells, that is extracellular space. Let's see how this tissue fluid forms. Now blood comes from arteries, then flow into smaller arteries, those are called arterioles, and finally they enter capillaries. At the arteriole end, in the capillary, this fluid, that is blood plasma, filter to the outside of the blood capillary. So it forms tissue fluid. In this tissue fluid, there are no blood cells as well as plasma proteins. So they provide nourishment to these cells, and then they also receive waste product from cells. Therefore, at the venule end of the capillary, some of them returns into the capillaries. That is, in order to remove waste product from this interstitial fluid, and also in order to maintain the volume of this interstitial fluid. So most of this tissue fluid returns to the capillaries at their venous end. But a small amount of this tissue fluid enter into another type of capillaries or vessels which are called lymph vessels. So the liquid inside these lymphatic vessels is called lymph. When we are considering the lymphatic system, it consists of lymph, lymph vessels, lymph nodes, and some lymph organs such as spleen and thymus. And also there are some diffuse lymphoid tissues in our body, for example tonsils, and also bone marrow is another part of the lymphatic system. So in this picture you can see the different parts of lymphatic system, how they are scattered throughout your body. What are the functions of the lymphatic system? The lymphatic vessels are essential for the maintenance of fluid balance in the extracellular space. So that is through draining or taking away some tissue fluids. And the other function is lymphatic system is important for the absorption of fat and fat-soluble materials. That is, through the absorption of fat and fat-soluble materials into the lymphatic vessels which are located in villi of the intestines. And the lymphatic system is also important for the providing of immunity through production and also maturation of lymphocytes. Now let's see about the lymph drainage, that is, the taking fluid through the lymph vessels. The lymphatic capillaries can be seen in most tissues of our body, except the central nervous system, the bone marrow, and also at the tissues without blood vessels such as cartilages, epidermis, and the cornea. There are two groups of lymphatic capillaries called the superficial group and the deep group. The superficial group of lymphatic capillaries is in the dermis of the skin and also in the subcutaneous tissue. The deep group of lymphatic capillaries drain the muscles, joints, viscera, and other deep structures. Lymph is a clear watery fluid in which the composition is similar to plasma without plasma proteins. And it is identical in composition to interstitial fluid. That is because interstitial fluid also do not contain plasma proteins. The lymph is very important in order to carry larger particles, larger waste particles, which cannot enter the blood capillaries. For example, bacteria and cell debris from damaged tissue can enter into lymph vessels and taken away from the interstitial fluid. Lymph also contains lymphocytes. Now we are going to talk about the lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries originate as blind end tubes which start from the interstitial space. They have the same structure as blood capillaries, but their walls are more permeable to all interstitial fluid constituents, including proteins and larger particles like cell debris. Here in this picture you can see the blind end tubes of lymph capillaries in green color. So the tiny capillaries which arise from the interstitial spaces join up to form larger lymph vessels. The lymph vessels become larger as they join together, and finally they form two large ducts in our body. Those are called the thoracic duct, which lies in the left side of our body, and the right lymphatic duct, which lies in the right side of our body. Finally, this lymph enters into the blood circulation because these two ducts open into subclavian veins. Let's see about the thoracic duct, which is located in the left side of our body. The thoracic duct begins at the cisterna coeli. Cisterna coeli is a dilated lymph channel which is situated in front of the bodies of first two lumbar vertebrae. The thoracic duct is about 40 cm long, and finally it opens into the left subclavian vein in the root of the neck. In this picture you can see the cisterna coeli and the thoracic duct in green color. The thoracic duct drains lymph from both legs, from pelvic and abdominal cavities, and also from left half of the thorax and the left half of the head and the neck, and also from left arm. If you can simply remember this picture, you can remember what are the areas drained by the thoracic duct and also what are the areas drained by the right lymphatic duct. Let's see about the right lymphatic duct. It is a dilated lymph vessel about 1 cm long, so relatively it is very short. It lies in the root of the neck, and finally it opens into the right subclavian vein. As the name implies, the right lymphatic duct lies in the right side of our body. The right lymphatic duct drains lymph from the right half of the thorax, the right half of the head and neck, and from the right arm. Now let's see about the lymph nodes. They are oval or bead-shaped organs. The lymph nodes lie along the length of lymph vessels. Sometimes they lie in grooves. As this lymph goes through the lymph vessels, they go through a number of nodes before returning into the veins. When we are considering the size of lymph nodes, there is a wide range of different sizes of lymph nodes in our body. What is the microscopic structure of lymph nodes? The lymph nodes are covered by a capsule which is made up of fibrous tissue. This fibrous tissue also dips down into the node substance, forming partitions, or we call them trabeculae. The main substance of the lymph node consists of lymphatic tissue. The lymphatic tissue is composed of lymphocytes, macrophages, and reticular fibers. The reticular fibers are very fine collagen fibers which are produced by the cells called reticular cells. The lymphocytes and the other cells are attached to these fibers. There are 4 or 5 afferent lymph vessels which enter lymph node. They bring lymph from the outside into the lymph node. But there is only one efferent vessel which carries lymph away from the lymph node. There is a concave surface of the lymph node which is called the hilum. Through hilum, an artery enters and a vein and the efferent lymph vessel leaves the lymph node. The major function of lymph nodes is filtering the lymph or the liquid inside the lymph vessels. And also it is important of removal larger particles from lymph through the process of phagocytosis. And also lymph nodes are sites for the multiplication of activated T and B lymphocytes. The picture below shows you the distribution of lymph nodes throughout your body. So this is the end of the first part of this lecture.